All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the weekend roundup. Let's take a look at these stocks and see if we can make sense of it. So, looking at the S&P, we have this nice little move. We put this bar in here and we moved up, and we failed at the 6,920 area, and then we came back down in here, tried to bounce up, and couldn't do it again. Left this window open. And so when we came back to shut that window, we fell all the way back down in here and almost took this bar out. Tried to push back up and got slapped down by the 20 and the 8 and 9 SMA. Or I'm sorry, the 8 and 13 SMA. At that point, we put in this bar here to sell. Okay, and that bar here. Alright, so that bar meant a lot there. That bar showed us that we were going to continue to sell coming down in through here. Alright, so now looking at this, we might get a little bit of push up into here, but don't count on it being enough to keep us going higher. If the trade works the way it's supposed to, we should continue to sell off and come back down in here and look for some support down in here. Now, a little bit, but then you're going to have to kind of expect it, okay, it's going to be time to start feeding again and everybody's going to start taking off. But that's probably not going to happen till the end of the year. All right, Bitcoin on the daily chart, looks like we got a sell-off coming in here. We had a little bit of opened up a little bit higher than when we closed. But looks like we got another little sell-off coming in. And if we look at our Coinbase, okay, take a look at our Coinbase, we'll see that that's kind of a little bit different than how it looks on Coinbase, which has been trading. All right, this day is Sunday, the 23rd, currently sitting at about 86,827. So, and it's just been kind of dripping around in there, kind of doing its thing. Now, if you go back to our Think or Swim charting, all right, it doesn't look quite like that. It looks a little bit different. Okay, as you can see here, it looks like it's still selling off. And we go to a smaller time frame. Again, the same thing. See that gap up right there, that window that opened? All right, that needs to be reconciled. Even on the smaller time frames, these windows have to be reconciled. Window here, down here too, down here. So if Bitcoin wants to continue going higher, it needs to shut these windows before it does it. So I believe we're going to continue to sell off on Bitcoin heading into Monday, Tuesday, and into next week, and to shut these windows. Because if they don't do it now, then we don't have room to go higher. We could go higher, but we still got to come back and take care of this stuff. All right. So keep that in mind in your trading this week coming up, and remember that when you're doing your trading, these windows, all right, they have to be closed. All right, because you can't leave the house with the windows open. You got to close the windows before you can leave the house. Okay, you can leave them open if you want to, but you might come back to an empty house. All right. It's got some things to take care of before it can before it can leave the house and go back out and venture out into the wilds. Next up is going to be our oil, and oil continues to sell off. It keeps running up and testing this area and keeps failing up in here. So we look for a support back down in here around 55 and maybe another retest. So you can keep playing this back and forth until it actually sucks these moving averages down. This 150 and this 200 comes down, and then we'll have to figure out what it actually wants to do from there. If it wants to continue to go lower, or if it's going to try to bounce up and get through. But currently, right now, oil is still looking weak. Even though we get these little plays to the upside. So make sure if you want to trade oil, wait till it gets back down in here and you can start loading up and wait for it to head back up here and keep playing that up and down until it settles on a direction. Alright, next up is going to be Ethereum, and Ethereum we've already talked about, because when we talked about Bitcoin, we talked about Ethereum. Next up is going to be gold, and gold putting in these dojis. I don't know if you can see them there. I got this. Let me make this smaller so you can see them. Edit. Make that smaller. All right. So we got a doji here, and a little small doji there. On that's going to be the 24th. It says the 24th, so that's basically today, opening up until heading into tomorrow. Alright, so we got a little doji coming in right now. So these little dojis are indecision. And you can see right here where it tried to pump up, and it got this almost a tombstone type doji. Alright, which is
Welcome to Travorium, where we make traveling the world easy and affordable for everyone. Our membership program offers amazing travel deals and benefits that let you explore the globe like never before. As a Travorium member, you'll get travel points every month that help you save big on resort stays. You can stay in beautiful one-bedroom suites at over 2,000 resorts around the world for as little as $1 a night by using your points. This means you can plan your trips just the way you want. As a Travorium member, you earn travel points every month and earn an income by doing what you love. Transform adventure into a lifestyle with Travorium. The best part about transforming your life into a travel adventure? You have the opportunity to earn a part-time income, full-time income, and for some, a lifestyle-changing income. Join the Travorium family today and start your journey. The world is waiting for you.
indication that there's sellers coming in. So I suspect that this gold is either going to continue, is going to sell off, or is going to get some pumped into it and pushed up higher. So we have to wait and see what happens. If we open up down here somewhere, come Monday morning, I think the sale is going to be in. We might bounce back up and close the window and then continue down lower. So keep an eye on that with gold. Next up is going to be our natural gas, and nat gas is actually gapped to the downside. Looking at our 2-minute chart. All right, got this nice window open, dropped down to below $4.47. So we'll see how it opens up on Monday. But currently, right now, nat gas got a window open. We may see that again in the pre-market, or we may close it in the middle of the night as we head into the trading week of the 24th through the, what's that? Oh, Thanksgiving's coming up. So 24th through the 28th, I think it is. So remember, Thanksgiving is going to be on Thursday, so won't be any trading on that day. And Friday might be a short day. So really, depending on how you're set up, might be, ready to take a little break for a week, right? Take a week off and not do nothing. Just let everything ride. Put your stops in and let it ride. See what happens. But that's on you. That's your play. You are the CEO of your trading company, of your investment company. So make your own decision there. But definitely looks like we're going to get some selling off coming into the Monday morning trading of the 24th. Next up is going to be the NASDAQ, and the NASDAQ gapped up here, and that's the the 24th again. So today's the 23rd. The 24th isn't here yet. The 24th is tomorrow. Today's the 23rd, and already it's got this gap up, and it's saying it's for the 24th. So this is where we closed at on Friday. We closed at a high of, the close was 24,349, and this little window that opened up is at 24,455. So that's a pretty good sized window there. Okay, that's opened. So we'll see if it comes back and shut it before trying to go higher, or if it tries to go higher from here. Try to go higher from here, and we know we got that window that's going to be giving us problems in the future. Okay, if it tries to come back down and close it first, then we know that, okay, they're serious about trying to go higher. Okay, so keep an eye on. I'm telling myself I was gonna quit saying okay. So keep an eye on that. All right. Be sure to be careful with that as we continue to head higher without reconciling this window. Then we know that there's going to be trouble in the future, and we're going to have to come back. Are we most likely are going? Are we most likely are going to come back to close that window before heading higher? All right. Next up is going to be our silver, and silver is looking pretty good currently at this 20-day moving average. It's looking like it wants to act as some support. Looks like we're doing the old springboard dance thing where we come down, bounce off, hit it again, and bounce off, right? And take a plunge. But we'll see what happens at it if it works out that way. All right. It may bounce up and the springboard acts so good that it just take it all the way higher and just keeps running up higher and higher and never come down. We'll see how it happens with that. Next up is the Dow, and the Dow has that window open as well, like the rest of them. So I would be leery heading into next week if I'm thinking I'm going to be trying to trade and run higher with these particular setups that I'm looking at right now. We got a lot of overhead resistance coming in on a lot of them, and I think we still have some weakness coming in. I don't think that a lot of that the money's coming back into the market just yet. I don't know how much you traded last week, but I noticed that that there was one day where it was just like nothing happened. It was just total no liquidity whatsoever. None of the stocks were doing anything. And for the most part, a lot of them were like that. It was just creeping along, not really doing anything. And I just think that it's slowing down right now. I think a lot of people are sitting on the sidelines, just kind of waiting to see where we're heading with this. For swim charting, if I draw this trend line in, okay, from the sell to our pause, right, and then I like to make it thick where I can see it, and then I'll change the color where it stands out a little bit better. So if I duplicate that move and stick it down here, all right, this is where I suspect the Dow is going to head to. All right, for that next leg down. The last one is going to be corn, and corn was looking very promising, but then they put in this bar right here, and that bar wiped it all out, right? And it tried to go back up in there, and then this bar came in and finished it off. So now it looks like corn wants to continue to sell, and we'll see what happens once it gets into the support area at $420. If the 200 rolls over into 20 and everything else continues to head downward, then corn is most likely going to continue to sell, and head to who knows where as it sells off. Okay, so that's going to be all right. So that's going to be it for the weekend roundup. I always like to throw in one little special one in there. So I think the special one I'm going to throw in this time around is going to be none other than the trade I've been in. No, I think I'll do. Let's see what we got here. Cancel. See how it's been behaving the way we have it. Yeah, it's off a little bit. So let's fix that. See what happens. 212.19. See what it looks like now. Oh yeah, much better, huh? Look at that. Pause right there. Pause in here. Okay. Windows open down here. Alright, so we see where we're at. window down here. So that's what we're looking at in NVIDIA. We got these windows down here that need to be reconciled. So NVIDIA could come all the way back down to $86. We know that they've been ringing the register. They've definitely been ringing the register on it. Jensen, what's his name? Jensen Wong or whatever. He cashed in a little bit. Who else? Let's see.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and like what a week it's been, right? You know, we have NVIDIA with this blowout earnings report and then 2 down days immediately following it. Really what seems to be happening is there are so many macro pressures on the market right now that's adding a lot of weight, dragging down the major indexes. But at the same time, we're seeing that NVIDIA's report, as good as it wasn't enough to quell some of these overall AI fears, right? And so we're seeing a sell-off, we're seeing a very risk-off mentality in the markets right now. And one thing that has been kind of interesting is looking at the stocks that are up today.
Yes.
We're actually seeing Apple outperform, and it usually has lately sort of been opposite of these big AI names because it doesn't have a huge AI piece of the puzzle. And then we're also seeing Google up, which is still really big optimism after Gemini 3. So it's just interesting to see a little bit of the split that's happening there in the market.
And much of this, of course, has been built into the worry about, yes, NVIDIA has the demand. People starting to dig into accounts receivable, into inventory, but that felt like a desire to try and, in retrospect, understand why we were seeing a sell-off rather than seeing that and then seeing a stock sell-off. So can you talk to us about how things are happening in timing-wise?
The timing has been so interesting, and I think you're totally right that I speak to a lot of investors and people were sort of pulling on different things, but there was no real smoking gun great answer as to why we were seeing this sell-off. But we have been seeing the market sort of react more to things around a Fed cut, if there's going to be a rate cut in December. So this morning, looked like things were kind of positive, and then around the Williams comments, but then, we get Mish out, and so it just seems like there's a ton of macro, and that is really what's moving the market.
I think one discourse that has been throughout is debt, and debt particularly among players like CoreWeave in the neo clouds, but Oracle in particular. The CDS, the credit default swaps of Oracle, have become almost like a way in which we show anxiety in the great debt pileup of certain companies. Is it rational? No one thinks Oracle is suddenly going to default, but it is being used as some sort of hedge here.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, the stock has just completely fallen off. It had that huge jump, and then we've erased all of that. And the debt question is a really big thing on investors' minds. And I think it really plays into the fears of the AI bubble, or the debate around it being a bubble, because if these companies start loading up on debt, there's the potential that they could become over-levered. That could be a bigger issue down the line. And with everything as circular as it is, even though these companies keep addressing it, Jensen spoke about it in NVIDIA's calls, investors are just not convinced yet. They're just seeing the house of cards. They're worried about it.
But don't get it wrong, it's still a good, strong company with this AI chips and whatnot. But for the most part, everybody's trying to make their own chip. You got Tesla, Meta, they're all building their own chips. So the only ones that are really dependent on NVIDIA are the ones that are actually have their whole infrastructure built around it. And so they're kind of stuck. All right, that's all we got for the weekend roundup. Thanks for stopping by. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and as always, be careful out there. These markets are crazy.